in a conference in 1998, genetic conference in 1998, they said that the genetic stuff with black people, they don't even have the technology to even study it. They just call it junk DNA. You see, they just call this thing junk DNA. They call this junk DNA.
You think that relates to last week, the releasing of the Human Genome Project?
Yeah, the human genome is basically their last stand to somehow ensure their genetic cohesiveness, whatever they're thinking. And all of the above comes under the human genome. But whatever the deal is, whatever the deal is based on this, they're pretty much up shit creek. Up shit creek. Gerald Massey's book, Gerald Massey's lecture talks about the Egyptians saying these are people of nothing. They are a nothing people with pig snouts and little tails. This is what the Egyptians, the Camites, say. They are like unto spittle. In Deuteronomy, they say a people that's not even a people. In Deuteronomy, they say a people that's not even a people. Now, what is this thing? Originally, there was two types of people on earth. There are completely different types of consciousness inhabiting similar physical bodies. So there's only two types of people: the original offspring of the black race and then this hybrid race. 70% of our bodies have a demonic counterfeit consciousness, which has been created by an evil demiurge or the express purpose of surviving evil. They do this by attacking the remaining population in energy terms in order to exploit them and steal their energy from them. They are rebellious, belligerent, and destructive and evil. Their attacks are not merely physical, but more in a subtle level, translated into the multitude of ways of draining energy from the beings of light. Less than 30% of the bodies have a divine consciousness within. There are divine nature, and in the nature is not one of what's this word? Warmongering, excuse me. I have to slow down. Warmongering. So they're saying that the nature of the divine beings are not one of warmongering. In fact, these are generally disintegrated by the struggle and have proved to be easy prey. So they have been disintegrated by the struggle, and they are attacked and lose energy to the evil essence, and they undergo a disastrous conscious equivalent to slow spiritual death. So they're saying that in so many words that these counterfeit beings drain energy from the original beings. They drain energy from the original beings. And basically, that's what the A.E. Power book say, that it possesses the memory and basically drains energy from the original beings. And that's what this particular counterfeit spirit does.
What books are you reading from?
This is coming from Joseph Cipolloni's stuff, Making Sense of the Madness, What's Going On. He has several books out. Joseph Cipollone out of Australia, if you can still get a hold of these particular books. And he talks about the two beings in society. One is a counterfeit spirit, but also and he's also, what he's doing is he's basically breaking down the Nag Hammadi library of the Gnostic scriptures dug up in 1945. He's putting it in his synopsis, but it's all coming out of chapters in here called the Apocrypha of John, and a chapter in here called the Tripartite Tractate. The Nag Hammadi library translated, the definitive new translation of the Gnostic scriptures complete in one volume, which it took them damn near 40 years or whatever, 40-something years or maybe 30-something years to translate it into English, edited by James Robinson. So he's taking the actual scriptures and breaking it down in his terminology is based on these counterfeit beings. Joseph Cipollone, in his books Making Sense of the Madness and What's Going On, also, he breaking that particular science down. So, in so many words, what you have is so much evidence on this particular person being a created being or a hybrid made being until we could go on for a whole year trying to explain this stuff. It is just that vast on this particular immigrant human, as they call them, or what they call the intruder. The intruder. Several texts, like your Hemmitt text, talk about this animal man. Talks about this particular animal man. If you read the true mythology, it is clear. It is clear of what this stuff is actually talking about. You got any questions?
Yeah, we got to change tape. Then we come back with some questions.
Okay. How many hours is that? So summing this thing up and all, this is a update on something I did 7 years ago called The Human Artificial, and I actually wrote a pamphlet on it. I put together, comprised a pamphlet on this thing. This is just other information, re-entry into this, where we give new scholarship, especially a lot of stuff coming from the Nag Hammadi Library, and the whole Hermetica series that we didn't have at that particular time. We had Thrice Great Hermes, but we didn't have Walter Scott's book. We had G.R.S. Mead's book, and some new stuff that's coming from Australia. What's Going On by Joseph Cipollone, as well as Making Sense of the Madness. By Joseph Cipollone. The book The Gnostics by Tobias Curtin that also mentions Mary Shelley's Frankenstein in that. Later on, like I said, the book Rudolf Steiner's book, Atlantis and Lemuria, as well as H.G. Wells' movie, his particular novel, put it in a movie in 1996, played by the top actor in the white race, Marlon Brando. The Island of Dr. Moreau. In so many words, to sum up, when it comes to people that's dealing with the theory of this particular thing, they have nothing. The only stuff that we do have is these particular texts that I have given 7 years ago and given now, which is this particular stuff in mythology and by the Egyptians and the ancients. And the ancients say that this is a hybrid made species created by an ancient priesthood. Also documented in Lieutenant Colonel A.E. Powers' book, Astrobody. So, in so many words, this is an update into this particular information with new light and new works by the Nag Hammadi Library and the Gnostic side of things, as well as a couple of other things too. And so this is where we end with this stuff, giving more information into this particular research, and there's tons of this particular research, and so we even challenge you to even go in and even find more and more to this particular science. But nevertheless, it is making the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's work legitimate that we used to laugh at. We find more in the ancient archaeological and anthropological evidence to suggest that than we do in this theory stuff coming out of regular academia. Check. Did we get it?